it better than us? Nobody. Who's got it better than us, Michigan? Who's got it better than us?
Hello and welcome to the 18th episode of Splat and the Honolulu Blues. I am your host, Antonio Pop, and today, because of final exam issues with Michigan State with my friend Matt, I'll be joined by my good friend and co-host Patrick. So how are you doing today, Pat?
I'm doing really good. Glad to be here, and let's talk some sports.
Yeah, and I think the biggest news coming out of this week, especially in the world of football, is the cancellation of the game, the Michigan-Ohio State game. Now, in my opinion, I see this as a dodge by the University of Michigan. Now, the reason why, Ohio State had a lot of players out last week, including a majority of their starting offensive line out versus Michigan State, and they beat them handedly in that game. Now, I see, the University of Michigan saying, okay, we have a lot of players out ourselves. There's no way we're to win this game. And they just look at this as an opportunity where we're just going to get more injuries, and it's just going to be a bad look for the university. Now, one of the saddest things, I really look at is the numbers. It's been 10 years, man. It's been 10 years since the University of Michigan has won against the Buckeyes. It's ridiculous.
Cue up that TikTok song. It's been 10 years. Man, it's been 10 long years. Holy crap.
It's been 9 years, but with the cancellation, it will technically be 10.
Yeah, it's 10 years since we've actually won. And it doesn't even feel close anymore. Like 2016, we beat Ohio State. We beat Ohio State.
Yeah, and we shot ourselves in the foot, though. That we lost that game by, hurting ourselves.
That wasn't the only play that determined that game.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And we shouldn't have put ourselves in that position. But other than that, Ohio State has just killed us every single year. It doesn't even feel like a rivalry.
It doesn't. It feels like a smackdown. It feels like they're an NFL team and we're like a collegiate team. Or it's like a D1 versus a D3 crossover game. It's that bad where we're just, that's a win for them. They're moving on to the Big Ten championship. And what I found was funny was the Big Ten came back to Ohio State and said, you know what, we're going to get rid of that 6-game requirement and let you into the Big Ten championship with 5.
As they should.
As they should.
Ohio State deserves it.
They do. And as much as that pains me to say that Ohio State deserves anything, because being a lifelong Michigan fan, I always want to say, we're always in the race, but we haven't been. Look at the numbers with Jim Harbaugh. We're 0-5 against Ohio State. That's 5 years. Now, back in the days of Bo Schembechler, you lost once or twice versus Ohio State, you're done. It's over. 5 years, man. I'm sick and tired of Jim Harbaugh. In my book, he's done. It's over. Goodbye. Go to the NFL. We need a new coach with new ideas, someone who could turn this program around and turn it into the days of Bo Schembechler, because that's what we were promised as Michigan fans. We were promised that he's our savior. He's the next Bo. Let's ride this out. Let's get a natty. Let's win this thing. What can you tell me that can, that besides that 0-5, that's the most disgusting thing in my book. We're 1-8 against top 10 teams. That just is despicable. He needs to be fired now.
I agree. And the news that I have for you with some insider information that I trust very heavily.
Don't tell me.
That he has already signed the contract.
Are you serious? Okay.
3-year deal, buyout, lower base salary. The only good news coming out of it.
Oh, lower base. That helps a lot. $7 million. Let's move to 6. You're 0-5 against Ohio State. You deserve $6 million instead of 7.
The only good thing is that they're freeing up more money. They're going to try and go after better coordinators. Okay. But who wants to come to Michigan?
Exactly. And with the track record they've had, they got the guy from Alabama, and everyone thought, our offense is going to be spectacular. We're getting the Alabama offensive coordinator a few years ago. That didn't pan out. And, Don Brown
is just awful.
What a joke. What a joke of a coach.
2018 Ohio State game killed Don Brown.
That was terrible. I could, from my couch, I could tell you what play they're running. They're running crossers over the middle, boop, boop, backer, boop, boop, throwing the ball.
Exactly.
And they would
and
get
then they
10
run
yards
crossers,
off of it.
And then Don Brown would just immediately, his only way he finally adjusted to it
Mm-hmm.
and then they would just throw the ball 50 yards down the field, and they'd have no one over the top.
I mean, that whole situation at Michigan, something needs to change. Something now, because being a lifelong Michigan fan that I am, it's getting to the point where I'm calling it like SOL, like type stuff. I'm like, every Saturday I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and then I start again on Sunday with the Lions.
Yep.
Now, speaking of some fresh news in the collegiate world, not being an MSU fan, but I mean, they're showing up this year in a year that they had basically D'Antonio left them in shambles, and Tucker's really bringing them to a level where they're decently respectable in terms of what they had. Now they got destroyed versus Ohio State, but what did you see that was expected? Yeah, but
it's just something that Mel Tucker got them. They beat Michigan, they beat Northwestern. Like, if you're a Michigan State fan, you look at this year as a win.
Yeah, a huge win. I mean, I was talking to Matt, and he said, we'd be lucky if we win one game.
Yeah.
And that was Rutgers, and they lost. So I thought the hysteria there was like, wow, Mel Tucker blew everyone's socks off. Kudos to him. He deserves all the praise. But what do you expect this weekend versus Penn State? Do you see this as Penn State is terrible this year? They're a laughing stock. What do you see
they beat Michigan.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Michigan is the laughing stock really this year.
Oh, yeah. I think it'll be a closer game. I think it'll be a close game.
It should be a good game. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, I hopefully Michigan State can pull off a win. We'll boost her to go from recruiting. Hey, we beat Penn State. We kind of finish the year in a win, so it gives the fan base and the players a little umph going into the next season. But coming out of the Ohio State game, there were some really good things I saw. What did you see that was stood out to you as okay, this is a good thing for Michigan State moving forward?
Well, I think that as much as you want to say, yeah, he is not good, but their quarterback.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean,
his ability, he can just make plays. He's not good. He's not a good quarterback.
He's not a good quarterback.
He can show up. All of a sudden, he'll throw 5 incompletions, but when he needs to on 3rd and 12, all of a sudden, he'll find a wide open man and he'll hit him. Or not even a wide open man. He'll just put the ball in the perfect spot. Or he'll just throw a 70-yard bomb out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things. It's happened every single year with this guy. He's not a good quarterback. He makes necessary plays when he needs to. And that's what made Michigan State's offense really, successful.
The thing is, that's the majority of college quarterbacks, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
when they go to the NFL, the most
besides
of them,
Trevor, they're just Trevor Lawrence. But even Trevor Lawrence isn't playing so hot nowadays. I mean, that Virginia Tech game, they played Virginia, I think last weekend. It was closer than it should have been.
Yeah.
But moving on. So we're going to the NFL now. I can't just to say this. I was dumbfounded that they beat the Bears. That was an unbelievable game. It was crazy to see that happen. Matthew Stafford. Wow. I mean, people trash talk him. Oh, he's not that good of a quarterback. He's mediocre at best. I mean, this guy, you're talking 402 yards, 27 for 42 with 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean, that's ridiculous for, a Patrick Mahomes type player. Except the 1 interception. That was a little lackluster. But the bad things I saw coming out of this game was the, dumb plays, the win. But, this is what hurts us, Pat. We had 7 penalties against us. Those mental errors hurt us. And then also what infuriated me was another play. I think it was Amendola on an end around on a 4th down. He started dancing in the hole. Now, we're both offensive linemen. If we have a running back that does that on a 4th down play when you only need a yard, come on, man, just get the 1st down, and you don't need to dance. And that's what
wear the marker. Just get the 1st down.
Mm-hmm.
On 1st, 2nd down, that's when you can try and make a move, dance. But on 4th down, even 3rd down, when you need that yard, you just go for it. You do whatever you can to get that one.
It's becoming it's a bad joke. It's been a bad joke for 40 years, man. We have good players. We just can't get it done with leadership and the coaching staff. It's just a sad scene. But we do have a really good quarterback. I think one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Oh yeah, I always think that he's been. Well, just think last year before he got hurt, he was putting up beyond MVP numbers.
He was ridiculous.
He would have won the MVP if he would have played the whole year. I honestly think. I mean, they probably still would have given it to Lamar because
that's a bold take there. I mean, a Lions team that was really, really poor. I mean.
Yeah, that's why I think they would have given it to Lamar because of how successful the Ravens and that whole storyline of Lamar has got to get it because he was a running back. But Stafford had by far the best QB numbers in the league before he got hurt. By far.
Yes.
Led every single category, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 100%. Now let's look at this. Now, do you think with Stafford's getting up there in age, and you hear the comments, coming from social media, we need a new quarterback. You heard that last year with the draft. Everyone wanted Tua at their spot instead of Okuda. Do you see, is Stafford, Matthew Stafford, still good enough to win us a Super Bowl, in your opinion? You see, in my book, now, it will take some time to, get the right players. So I'm thinking 3 or 4 years down the road. I don't think so.
I don't think at that point he's not. I think for the betterment of the franchise, I love Stafford. Always have. I've always been really high on Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time we'll be good enough, he'll be past his prime. I think right now why he's good, we need to trade him while the cap hit is not that big after this season.
Yeah.
You trade him. And then you just move on and you get good value for him now, and then you can build. I think, remember when the Browns had the 1st and 4th pick?
Yeah, I remember that.
They were going to trade those for Stafford. That was a rumor going around that they would trade the 1st and 4th pick for Stafford because they wanted a quarterback that bad. I think that's the worst mistake we ever made was not looking to trade Stafford.
No. One of the worst mistakes we ever made was drafting Eric Ebron instead of Odell Beckham Jr. That was one of the worst mistakes ever. I mean, a tight end, Eric Ebron? Come on. That's ridiculous. But
he's lighting it up now with the Steelers. He's their number 1 target.
I know. I mean, it's the Steelers, man. The Steelers are unbelievable. Yeah. Even though they lost to the Giants, I mean, they're still a great organization.
Well, you can blame that loss to the Giants on the Ravens, making the Steelers wait 5 days to play and then having no break.
Yeah.
That's unfair, I think, to them.
I agree. And that was ridiculous on everyone's part. Now, speaking of, different teams around the league, the newest, the most anticipated rumor and the most anticipating signing of the offseason is the head coach. And, the biggest rumor is Robert Saleh. He's a Detroit native. He's from San Francisco. I've looked at his, resume up and down. What he's done with this San Francisco 49ers team is unbelievable. They've been, on the defensive side at least, they've been banged up week in, week out, and San Francisco's in the playoff hunt. So, his willingness to keep on pushing his, team and, his guys to really making an effort in trying to, make the playoffs is a real inspiration. It shows that he, is creative with his defensive schemes and mix things up. And I actually really like, if we pick him up, a great signing, because we could get Richard Sherman too, which would be a great training asset and a great player, to help coach up Okuda and some of those younger cornerbacks in our team. So I think, if we end up getting him, it'd be a great signing. Pat, what do you think?
I was looking at him too. I mean, since the very beginning, I think he'd be a very good hire. I don't know if he'd actually want to come to Detroit because I think he's going to have incredible other offers.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. But, there's always something, about coming home, the homecoming. Jim Harbaugh came home from the NFL. There's something about winning in your hometown. He's a Dearborn native. He's grown up with the Lions. There's always something about that that's mesmerizing to people. I want him to come home, and I want him to, hopefully there'll be a good GM. I want him to dominate. I want to see the Lions go crazy. I want to hear the roar being put back into Ford Field since the Patriot way sucked it out of Ford Field and fans are really upset. I want to see this really this whole, homecoming come to fruition and actually happen.
But you know who they're going to hire, Pop? They're going to hire the head coach now, the interim. You know they.
I like Darrell Bevell.
I like him too.
He's done a decent job.
Head coach, I believe they should keep him on as a coordinator.
I agree with that. I
really like Darrell Bevell.
I really like Darrell Bevell, and like as he said last week, and I brought it up, I'm gonna bring it up this week is how do you make the Detroit organization, fun again? You win games, and what did they do? They had fun and they won games. I mean, speaking of Darrell Bevell, I found it interesting that the only person that didn't congratulate him was Matt Patricia. He didn't get a text from Matt Patricia saying, "Congratulations, coach, good win." I mean, that shows poor sportsmanship and just a lack of empathy towards your guys. That's ridiculous in my book. I would, congratulate my successor even if I got fired because you want the best for that organization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of an organization that, sometimes people drink the Kool-Aid with these guys and, they're a college organization. We're talking about Michigan State basketball. Now, they beat Duke, which was their only ranked team they beat this year. They're ranked 4th in the nation. I mean, man, they're good. They're a good team. They're going to make the tournament, as they always do.
Yeah.
But the hype that's coming with this team, they're not that good to be 4th in the country. Now, even though it's really early in the season, they almost lost to Detroit Mercy.
Yeah.
Who, they're not as good as Michigan State and not as good as some of these top-tier teams, but it was close until the bitter end. Then Michigan State kind of pulled out, a good win. But, I mean, that was shocking to see from a basketball standpoint is that it was really close. And, I think they're overrated, and I think they're going to enter the tournament around 15. I really don't see them in a top 5 seed at all going into the tournament. Pat, what do you think about the rankings? And it's early still.
The one thing you got to look at the Detroit Mercy game, though, is that happens all the time is where a worse school overall, in terms of like basketball and everything, school that's not as good, can just randomly get hot out of nowhere.
I mean, look at
Chicago. They have nothing to lose. They're expected to lose to Michigan State. So they're just going to go out there. Their coach is going to be like, all right, shoot. Shoot is whatever you want. Just try and score. See what happens. Yeah. That's how I can't remember the team that beat Michigan State. Remember when Michigan State was a 2 overall and the 15?
I think that was that Chicago Loyola?
Oh, I can't remember. But thing is, again, the next round, though, that team that beat them just got destroyed by like 40 points.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's really early still. It's really early. We'll see what happens. I think they're overhyped, but that's – I mean, we both think they're overhyped, but, hopefully they prove us wrong. 100%. I think that's true.
They really lost a lot by losing Cassius Winston. The guy that replaced him is pretty good, but he's showing that he's not in command of the offense. Cassius Winston just made plays happen. He was a general out there. This guy is more of a shooter, but he doesn't really have the full command of the court. Yeah. He doesn't go out there, and when Cassius Winston would go down the court, you knew he was going to make a play. He was going to feed the ball. He was just going to take it himself.
That was
this
one
guy
of the things
doesn't have that confidence, and it'll come, but not this year.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we wrap up the show, let's get into predictions for the Lions this week. We're versing Green Bay, 4:25 kickoff. They're already, looking at this game.
Is this at Green Bay?
I think this is at Detroit. It's at Detroit. It's at home. But here's the problem going into it. ESPN, I'm looking at ESPN right now. They predict that Green Bay is has a 77.9% chance of winning this game. I think it's closer than because those games are always a toss-up between Green Bay and Detroit. It's never Green Bay in the past hasn't really beat us out-handedly. It's usually very close. I think it'll be a close game, and if we could pull off a miracle in the D, we'll do it again. But I realistically see this.
That was fast.
Yeah.
if we want, and I know you love Daryl Bevel, I don't want him as the head coach. I want a new person to come in, culture
Yeah.
change. I love Daryl Bevel as a coordinator, and I think he should stay on as a coordinator. But if we really want a new coach, we have to lose. If we want a good draft pick for the new GM,
We gotta lose out.
we gotta lose.
No, but it was
picking at like 14 or 15.
Yeah, no, that would be really bad, a really bad situation. But it was really funny. So I saw this one meme on Instagram. It was, wouldn't it be funny if the Lions ended up 9-7 and won out? That would be hysterical.
Would they make the playoffs at that?
I don't know that it would be in the. I would think that it'd be in the hunt. That would be unbelievable. They turn it around and they make the playoffs.
If they then won the Super Bowl somehow.
Oh man, don't get me. Don't Pat. You lay off that. You gotta lay off that Kool-Aid, man. They're not making the playoffs. We're 5-7. Let's be realistic. Look at the future. I think they're losing this game.
Kenny Golladay might play a limited role, man. They're 3-2 when Kenny Golladay plays.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I think one of the big things that's hurt them this year is they just want to have fun. They just want to have fun, man. That's all they want to do. No, I think one of the biggest things that hurt the Lions this year is that they're injury prone. The whole offense is injury prone, and that's hurt them. Their defense isn't that good. That's why I think this pickup of Robert Saleh would be a great pickup for Detroit because he's a defensive-minded head coach. He knows what he's doing with his defense.
He's what Patricia should have been.
Exactly. And he's proven because he's done it this season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that wraps up episode 18 of Splat and the Honolulu Blues. I hope you'd enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Shows will be coming out weekly. And as always, stay healthy and classy. See you guys later.
See ya.